The schoolyard was alive with the sound of laughter, sneakers squeaking against concrete, and the rhythmic bounce of a basketball. Children ran in every direction, their shouts echoing in the crisp afternoon air. But on the far side of the playground, away from the noise and chatter, Ethan sat quietly on the swing, pushing himself back and forth with slow, uneven kicks. His sleeves were rolled down, even though the sun burned bright above, baking the asphalt. He hated the way the fabric clung to his arms, but he hated the stairs even more. The scars underneath weren't something he liked to show. They crawled up his forearm like silver lightning, jagged reminders of the night that had changed everything, the night of the fire. Across the yard, Tommy and his group of friends noticed him sitting alone. Tommy was the kind of boy who liked attention, loud, confident, and cruel in the way kids can be when they don't understand pain. He nudged his friend, whispering with a smirk, "Look, there's the weird kid again. I bet he's hiding something under those sleeves." Before Ethan could look away, Tommy strode over, swaggering with a grin that didn't reach his eyes. "Hey, what's with the long sleeves, huh? You allergic to sunshine?" The boys behind him laughed. Ethan tried to ignore them, eyes fixed on the dirt below his feet. "Leave me alone," he said softly, but that only made Tommy lean closer. "What's wrong, scared? What are you hiding?" With one quick motion, Tommy tugged at Ethan's sleeve. The fabric slipped down, revealing the pale, twisted marks that lined his arm. For a second, even Tommy froze, just a second, before the laughter started again. "Oh man, look at that! What did you do? Try to cook yourself?" The others joined in, their laughter sharp as glass. Ethan's face burned. He yanked his sleeve back down and jumped off the swing, his voice trembling. "It was a fire, my mom," but they didn't care. Tommy shrugged, smirking. "Yeah, sure, whatever. Maybe next time you'll stay out of the kitchen." Ethan ran, tears stinging his eyes, the echo of their laughter, chasing him across the playground, and the weight of old memories pressing heavier than ever. 2 days later, I received a call from Ethan's school. The principal's voice was polite, but beneath it, I could hear that familiar edge of concern every parent dreads. "Mr. Carter, I think we need to have a conversation about an incident that happened this week." By the time I arrived, Ethan was waiting outside the office, sitting small and quiet in one of those 2 big plastic chairs. His backpack was clutched against his chest like a shield. He looked up as I approached, his eyes red-rimmed. "Am I in trouble, Dad?" I crouched down beside him. "Nobody. You didn't do anything wrong." When we stepped into the office, I saw them, the principal, Mrs. Dawes, and another man I didn't recognize at first, tall, broad shoulders, expensive suit, the kind of presence that filled a room. Next to him sat a boy who looked far less confident, Tommy. Mrs. Dawes gestured for me to sit. "Mr. Carter, this is Mr. Harlan. His son, Tommy, was involved in the bullying incident we discussed." Mr. Harlan extended his hand, his expression polite but distant. "I'm terribly sorry for the trouble. Boys can be rough sometimes, but we'll make sure it doesn't happen again." His tone was calm, too calm, like this was just another minor inconvenience to smooth over. Ethan sat beside me, hands twisting in his lap. Mrs. Dawes said gently, "Ethan, sweetheart, maybe you could help Tommy understand why those words hurt so much." Ethan's eyes flickered with panic. He looked at me, silently begging to leave, but I nodded, encouraging him. Slowly, hesitantly, he began rolling up his sleeve. The fabric slid back, revealing the network of scars, pale against his small arm, but still raw in memory. The air in the office changed instantly. Tommy's smirk disappeared, but what caught my attention wasn't the boy's reaction. It was his father's. Mr. Harlan had gone completely still, color draining from his face. His eyes locked onto those scars, as if he'd seen a ghost. For the first time, his confident expression broke. His voice came out low, trembling. "That mark. I've seen it before." And in that moment, I knew something far deeper was about to surface. For a moment, the room was silent, the kind of silence that presses on your chest and makes the air feel too heavy to breathe. Mr. Harlan was staring at Ethan's arm, as if it had struck him. His hand trembled slightly. his confident posture collapsing into something unrecognizably fragile. "That mark," he whispered again, his voice almost breaking. "That burn pattern. I've seen it before." Mrs. Dawes frowned, confused. "Mr. Harlan, what do you mean?" He didn't answer immediately. His eyes darted from Ethan to me and then back again. He swallowed hard. "The Pinewood Apartments fire. 2 years ago. I was one of the firefighters who responded. My breath caught. That night, the screaming alarms, the smell of smoke, the red lights flashing against the walls. It all came flooding back in brutal clarity. Ethan froze beside me, his small hands clutching his sleeve, again as if trying to hide the past that had just been uncovered. Mr. Harlan leaned forward, his voice shaking now, all authority gone. There was a woman trapped in apartment 3B. She was holding a child. I remember because she wouldn't let go of him, even when she was losing consciousness. We got her out, but the boy... He stopped, his throat tightening. He didn't have to finish. I could see it written in his eyes, the memory of the chaos, the moment he thought he'd lost one of them. I nodded slowly, my voice barely above a whisper. "That woman was my wife. You saved her, but she didn't make it through the night." Mr. Harlan's eyes glistened with tears. He looked at Ethan, who was staring at him with wide, fearful eyes. You were that boy," he said, his voice cracking. I thought you didn't survive." The realization hung in the air like smoke that refused to clear. Tommy looked from his father to Ethan, confusion turning into shame. The boy who had mocked those scars now saw them for what they were. Not something ugly, but something heroic. Mr. Harlan reached across the table, his voice breaking as he said, "Ethan, I'm so sorry. I never meant for any of this." And in that moment, the bully's father wasn't a powerful man anymore. He was just a man haunted by the fire he could never forget. That evening the house was unusually quiet. Ethan sat at the kitchen table, tracing patterns on the wood with his fingertip, lost in thought. The sun was setting outside, casting long golden streaks across the floor. I was washing dishes, trying not to think about what had happened earlier. But the image of Mr. Harlan's pale face and trembling voice refused to leave my mind. Then the doorbell rang once, twice, slow, deliberate knocks that seemed to echo through the house. Ethan looked up, startled. When I opened the door, Mr. Harlan stood there, no longer in his crisp business suit. His eyes were red-rimmed, tired. Beside him was Tommy, his head bowed, fidgeting with the hem of his shirt. The proud, untouchable father and the careless bully both looked smaller now, stripped of arrogance. "Mr. Carter," Harlan began quietly, "I hope this isn't a bad time. We needed to come." Before I could reply, Tommy stepped forward, his voice shaky. "I'm sorry, Ethan. I didn't know about the fire. I didn't know about your mom. I shouldn't have said those things." Ethan hesitated, his eyes softened, but he didn't speak. Mr. Harlan placed a gentle hand on his son's shoulder. "When I saw your scars today," he said, his voice breaking, "I realized I've spent 2 years trying to forget that night. But seeing you, it brought everything back. Your mother's courage, the way she held on to you, even when the flames were everywhere. She was stronger than anyone I've ever seen." He paused, swallowing hard. "I couldn't save her, Ethan. I've lived with that guilt every day. But you're her miracle. And I want to thank you for reminding me of that." Ethan's lip trembled. Slowly he stepped closer and whispered, "She said the man in the fire had kind eyes. That must have been you." For a long moment no one spoke. The only sound was the soft chirping of crickets outside. Then Tommy wiped his eyes and offered Ethan a small, awkward smile. "Friends?" he asked quietly. Ethan nodded. "Friends." As they left, Mr. Harlan turned once more and said, "Scars don't make us weak, Ethan. They remind us we survived." And for the first time, my son smiled, not to hide the scars, but because he was finally proud of them.